I am from Mauritius, originally from Mauritius. But I live in England, and I have been in England for the last 26 years. I was born Catholic. I was born to a Catholic family. I have grown up in the Catholic faith. And then when I came to England, after the studies, things changed and I went into a different direction. I went on to the ambitious direction, you know, the work, the luxurious lifestyle and the materialism. I went into materialism, basically. So I'd lost, I distanced myself from God, and then I have found it again. I then, during my time at college, I met my husband and we got married, and then that's it. I stayed in England. And then everything came crashing down. My marriage crashed, you know. Separation, my family broke. I have 2 children, my son, my daughter. So everything came crashing. My degree started falling apart. We lost our house. And so my husband decided to leave, and everything just crashed around me. And then I cried out. I actually cried out for 6 years. It was a hard lesson, but it was a good lesson, a thankful lesson. I thank God every day for what happened to me, because it's a good example of how not to distance yourself from God and to remember there is more important things in life than, you know, the material life. And it takes time to be able to get up, and it took 6 years from falling to getting up. So one day I was sleeping in the bedroom, and I didn't know whether it was a dream or a reality, but it's like I don't know, I can't explain. I saw myself on the bed. I saw myself on the bed, and then I saw Our Lady next to my bed. Our Lady and my favorite saint, Saint Anthony of Padua. And they came and stood next to me. And they said, and he kind of said, everything will be okay. And then everything came crashing. But I did not panic. It was very strange. I did not panic. I did not worry. I accepted everything. You know, everything was cool. We moved because we lived in a city in Manchester, and we moved because I'd met Gary during this time as well. I'd met Gary, who's my husband now, and we moved out to the countryside so the children could have a better life. And still life wasn't, you know, it was changing, but it wasn't, we weren't at peace. And then Bo was born, my son, our son, and he was very sick. And he spent 2 weeks in intensive care. And I prayed. I prayed really hard for his life, for him, because he was in the corridor of death, because his heart rate was 30 beats a minute. So he was on the way to go. And then I prayed, and then he started coming back to, you know, he had his life back. Bo, you know, growing up, developing, always having to take medication every day, and I kept praying every day, you know. we went to Lourdes. It was last year, 2018. And there, this started my conversion. And then we went home. And then in May, Gary said, let's go to Medjugorje. And I said, oh, Medjugorje. Okay, let's go to Medjugorje. She's calling me. I'm going this time. It's like I knew then, no? Somebody's calling me. So we went to Medjugorje, and it was a beautiful experience because when we were climbing the apparition hill, Bo was only 4, and he actually climbed the hill. But at every single station, there's the station of the cross, and at every single station he would not move unless he kissed Jesus. And we walked up the hill, and we got to the top, and we kneeling down in front of Our Lady. We're praying, and there was my little boy praying. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and something magical, if you want, happened there. Whilst I was sitting and praying the rosary, and Bo came up and said, I need to go and see Jesus. I said, no, it's too rocky, I can't lift you, it's too, you're too heavy. And the next thing, I'm actually lifting Bo up. He said, no, I have to go. And I said, why do you have to go? And he said, no, I have to go because Jesus told me he loves me. Okay, great, wonderful, let's go. So I took him, and I took to the cross, and something happened. When he pointed out that, Mommy, I said, what? Can you not see the red blood coming down? And I'm like, no, I can't. Yes, the red blood coming down. And that for me, whether people believe or don't believe, but that for me at the time, it was real. I in fact was going, where's the blood? Where's the blood? But anyway, in any case, and then we came down, and when we're coming down the hill, he said, he wanted to hold his hand because it's so rocky. Didn't want him to fall and hurt himself. And he kept saying to us, don't worry, I will be fine. And we kept saying, but how do you know you're going to be fine? You're only 4. And he said, I know I'm going to be fine because Jesus and Mary told me I can do it by myself. And then I said, okay, great. What else did they say? And they said, be a good boy for your mommy and daddy. Something had changed inside me. I became more humble. Suddenly I was this person who felt the need to be close to God, to be close to Jesus, to Our Lady. I needed to be close. I needed to return to my Father. That's what it felt like. So then we went home, and a month later I just woke up and decided, okay, no more medication for Bo. He has been cured, I believe that. And I stopped all the medication, and he was cured. He found his health. Until today, no medication. I was playing Mary songs, morning, evening, during the day, Mary songs. So it wasn't just the playing Mary song, it was the prayer. I started doing the rosary more frequently. Then I had this urge of wanting more prayers, So I had some books that I kept somewhere. So I went looking for my books again. And it's like slowly I see myself more prayers, different prayers, and doing all these, and I was searching for prayers, and I was seeking things on the internet, and it's like I wanted to know more, I've been so far away from my faith. And then, and one day I was watching all these Medjugorje past messages and past videos, and then suddenly, one day I went, and there's this video of the apparition of Our Lady in America somewhere. And I went, oh, okay, click. So I watched a bit, and then there was another one down the list, a Jesus one. So I clicked on it, and I did watch that one to the end. From the beginning till end, I watched 2 of Jesus' apparitions on YouTube. And then something led me to the website. I went to the website thinking, wanting to know more. And I went to the website, and then I saw, oh, there was going to be a live one. So I assisted a live one. And that was it. Transformed. I was transformed. It was an amazing thing. I had this urge of praying the divine mercy every day at 3 o'clock. I can't explain. Every day at 3 o'clock, I was there praying the divine mercy, asking for peace for my house, for my family, peace for everyone. That's what life started becoming. Prayer after prayer. Then I found more prayers on your website. Then more prayers. I started doing other prayers. Then I started doing the trilogy, and I felt myself coming closer to Jesus, even closer and closer, until one day I was going to the dentist, and then I was driving the car, and this thing came in my head, this thought, what is the reason for your existence? And I thought, well, what is the reason of my existence? I don't know, Lord, you're going to tell me, because I know why God exists. So I said the 3 things, to adore you, to serve you, to know you, and then that's it. But if I'm wrong, you're going to tell me I'm wrong, you're going to tell me the answer. Anyway, I went to the dentist, and on the way back, that day you were going to have a live apparition of Jesus. It was the sacred call, I think it was a sacred call, I can't remember, but it was a Jesus apparition. And on my way back, and that evening I sat down there, ready, waiting, and then I was thinking, behind my screen I was thinking, I am here, I am not there, I'm here, but I am here, I'm behind the screen, but I am here, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, give me a sign, give me a sign. And then somebody played this song, The Reason for My Existence. And I understood the reason for his existence. And that touched me very deeply. And I think that was the express transformation from whatever stage I was. I was in a completely different stage now. It was changed. It was like, that's it. Jesus is the one. I felt very close. Everything was about Jesus. Every conversation, everything. It was like natural. I talked to somebody about something and suddenly I'm talking about Jesus. I'm talking to my children about something and suddenly I'm talking about Jesus. And it's it's a beautiful thing that's happened to me. Most wonderful thing to know that Jesus actually is listening. He's there, and I feel very close, very, very close, and I'm thankful for that. Very thankful for that. He has been merciful. Merciful.